The 2025 NFL Draft has shaking up the fantasy football landscape. Take it all in with our biggest rookie and veteran movers in our dynasty and redraft rankings. All this and more. It's a brand new episode of the IBT podcast coming right at you.
I've been going dummy, out of bounds, putting on a clinic. Stick around, carrots in my hardware. KC, caught him in the crosshair. Look at me, been the guy calling Mr. MVP. Keep your ass on the bench by my MPC. Earn my stripes like I fits this league. Your dog's on the turf, my dog's in the street. You can find me somewhere in between. Never a dull moment like a movie scene. About to do the ops like I did this beat. Let them keep talking RG3. Coming to you live. This is the In Between Fantasy Football Podcast.
All right. And welcome into the In Between Fantasy Football Podcast, your place for both a refreshing and feel-good take on fantasy football and NFL gambling. The NFL Draft has come and gone, which means it's time to break down the fallout from it. We'll do that in this episode with our biggest winners and losers. I'm your host, Seth Wilcock. And boys, I'm absolutely buzzing tonight, coming off a weekend where we cashed in both the NFL Draft and NASCAR betting markets. And no, I'm not alone. I am joined by a man who's hopefully thriving down there in the Houston Texans area, where his team pushed all the chips in to go get CJ Stroud and improving this entire team over the weekend. Eric Romoff, how you doing, man?
I am doing well. I love being a Houston Texans fan this time of year because if nothing else, we are absolutely assured that Nick Caserio and that front office are going to get after it. They're going to move up. They're going to move down. There's never a dull moment on draft night for the Texans faithful. Yeah,
congratulations. We'll chat a little bit more about that organization later in the program. I'm also joined by our NFL and entertainment betting expert here at IBT, Boston's boy, Steve Lawson. What's going on, Steven?
Not a lot. You know what? Unlike Eric, I hate being in Patriots Nation right now because this is an absolutely dreadful time. The NFL Draft has never been fun for Patriots fans, not for the last, 25 years. It never seems to be what we want. We never get the flashy player. It's always kind of just meh. Like, we'll trade back, we'll draft a lineman, and we just do a bunch of stuff that honestly is the least exciting we could possibly be. But that's Patriot way, right?
Hey, man, you've dealt with it for a while now, and now just the winning doesn't come with it, so it's not as fun. But we'll chat a little bit more about the Pats later on as well. And before we jump in, just a few announcements of the program. We're working on a new syndication partnership, so moving forward, shows will be a little bit tighter, around the 50-ish minute marks. Also, no more swearing. And that's going to take a lot of getting used to. I can tell you that now. I've already butchered the intro because I wanted to say a word I'm not allowed to say anymore. So we're going to get through this, boys. Going to take some time, but looking forward to this new partnership, Eric, in the works.
Yeah, we're definitely going to have to get a couple of bars of Dial soap on handy so we can start washing out our mouths when we're using these bad words. It'll take a bit of adjustment, but I think we got the crew to get through it.
Yeah,
is that the move with your kids, Eric?
100%. Never actually had to invoke it, but it is an ever-present threat.
It's a threat.
Yeah. As noted on today's program, front and center, NFL Draft winners and losers. We'll break down rookies and veterans who were impacted by the movement. Also, shout out to the IBT family who's tuning in live with us on the YouTube channel. We greatly appreciate it. As always, please like this video if you enjoy this type of content. Also, subscribe to the channel if you're new. We got NFL Draft content still coming for you. It's been a really busy time between here over at Fantasy Pros as well, but looking forward to continuing this conversation now that we have landing spots. Also, be sure to check out the website for some fantastic written content. And while you're there, get a ticket to Draft Night Out. That is our live fantasy football draft at the Fantasy Football Expo in Canton, Ohio this August. If you want to come draft with us and 200 of our closest fantasy football friends, this is the event for you. Link is in the episode description. Looks like we got Ben already ready to go. What's up, Ben? Good to see you, brother. Appreciate you hanging out with us tonight. And what do you guys say? Let's go ahead and get things started here and a little bit of front and center.
So
sometimes taking that first step out the door is the hardest thing to do. a chance, you'll be begging for more. Save the spot just for you. We're all somewhere in between. I thought you'd come to the place where we have some fun. Ain't gotta worry about knowing not what it means. Keep you coming, give me another, cause the night is young. At least I so thought.
This just in. Breaking news. Front and center.
It was certainly an NFL draft to remember, with maybe one of the biggest slides we've ever seen in Shedeur Sanders. We're not going to talk about him in our winners or losers tonight, but just wanted to, throw it out there that we are well aware. I think that would definitely take us over our 52-minute mark if we even started that conversation. But there was some moves at the quarterback position. Jackson Dart going round 1. Cam Ward, of course, going first overall. And Steve, one of your winners, a man from Louisville, who went out and maybe shocked the world, going to the Saints early in the second round. Share some love for this latest quarterback signal caller in the big leagues.
Well, I gotta hesitate before I say I'm giving love to Tyler Shough, but certainly a winner in this draft, right? I mean, who saw this coming? Him to go off the board so early. And he goes to a situation that he almost is certainly going to see playing time potentially right away. The Saints are essentially out on Rattler, it seems like, and out on whoever else is quarterbacking for them. Yeah. I mean, great
GQ
photo.
model JK.
Great photo
Yeah.
op. But like, other than that, not much. And it seems like Derek Carr is working his way out of New Orleans as well. So yeah, Tyler Shough, with his weird tape that you don't really know what you're getting out of him, suddenly becomes the third quarterback taken in the NFL draft. And I think all of us sat around going like, what do you mean? What do you mean that he went third? Like, that was surely supposed to be Shedeur Sanders, right? To a lot of people, at least. I won't say me, but nonetheless, most people had Shedeur Sanders there. And it's shocking. Certainly has some arm talent, right? But it seems like this is kind of a lower IQ quarterback for what I think the NFL needs. So while he's a winner, I think you have to look on the flip side of this and say the Saints were absolute losers with this pick.
Yeah, I agree.
Like,
I agree.
it's kind of a weird juxtaposition of this, right? I'm like happy for the kid. Like, honestly, here's what I will say always about the NFL draft. I'm happy for anybody who gets picked, right?
Yeah.
Like, all power to you, right? You earned your spot. Whether you went too early or not is not, like, I can sit here and go on and on about it for as much as I want. I don't know, right? Like, 25 years ago, the Patriots burned a 6th round pick on this random quarterback out of Michigan who was losing his job to like Chad Henne, I'm sorry. And he wound up being the greatest of all time. So what do we know, right? Maybe Tyler Shaw is that dude. I don't think he is, but he could be.
I'll tell you what, it's very interesting because I am with you. I did like the fact that Shough had a really great season under Jeff Brom down there in Louisville, but this is a guy who was backing up Justin Herbert not too long ago. And I say not too long ago, but it is a while ago, right? Like, this is a guy who's been in college for a long time. He's bounced around, had some really unfortunate injury luck, gets it together, has a great season in the ACC with the Cardinals this year. And with all that being said, the dude's 25. It did feel like a bit of a reach of a pick, but
of a reach. Seth, he's older than you. I mean, it's like
close, not quite, but
yeah. But
Eric, with this all said, though, Tyler Shough is a winner when it comes to fantasy football value because, like Steve said, it's Spencer Rattler, it's Jake Haener, and not much else if the Derek Carr rumors are true. So where are we taking Tyler Shough in a Dynasty rookie draft? I saw him go off the board in one Dynasty rookie draft yesterday as early as the 2.5, and I've seen him go off at the 3.5 as well. Do you think that's the right range?
I think 2.5 is probably a little rich for me.
Agreed.
But I think you can make a case for it, right? I was chatting with a buddy of mine who all of a sudden has literally 0 starting quarterbacks because he was rostering Kirk Cousins and Russell Wilson. So in a situation like that, you know that you're going to get a guy that has the inside track to start at least this year. But I have a hard time investing any meaningful capital in Tyler Shough in a dynasty context because I'm pretty sure he's the quarterback equivalent of a tank commander, right? Like, New Orleans brought this guy in here to maybe get lucky and catch lightning in a bottle, but realistically help position them for the first overall draft pick in next year's class so they can reload, draft a quarterback for the third straight year, this time being Arch Manning.
Yep, I'm with you there. I think that's exactly what's going to happen, but they might have a little bit of an issue because there's two teams that have a ton of capital going into next year after some great moves by the Rams trading out, getting the Falcons pick. They have 2 first rounders and the Browns as well. So it's going to be tough pickings, but taking Tyler Shough in the second this year might have not done them much favors, but he is a fantasy football winner here. Let's go ahead. Let's go to the running back position where, Eric, you have a very interesting winner on your list that I'm not so sure I agree with.
My clear winner at the running back position is none other than Quinshon Judkins, a running back that I said I preferred to his teammate Travion Henderson on these very airways, and he turns around and gets drafted before his colleague, albeit by just a couple of picks. But really, I think the thing that jumps off the page for me with Judkins is that he's walking into an opportunity where he should have a considerable workload made available to him for a team that still largely, despite having 5 guys in the room now, doesn't really have any answers at the quarterback position and is probably going to lean heavily on the running backs as they have pretty much every single year since they returned to Cleveland. So I love how this kid profiles. His contact balance is insane. He's got that bruising profile that looks a lot like what Nick Chubb brought to the table when he was a young man entering into the league. So the comp definitely is the icing on the cake, but if nothing else, the opportunity is greenfield in front of Quinshon Judkins. I love where he landed for the Cleveland Browns.
So my concern is I like Quinshon Judkins. Like we've had a back and forth relationship. I was high on him, the last 2 years as a guy who's been studying this class, and then didn't like what we saw kind of late down in the season. Comes out, he tests really well, so I was back in on him, and then lands with the Browns in the second round. Okay, I'm in on that. And then Dylan Sampson lands there in the 4th round. And I get that maybe that's like, hey, we're going to try to find maybe like a lightning to Quinshon's thunder. And maybe that's your thought. But Jerome Ford's also there for 1 more year. And Jerome Ford is not a scrub either. So I think as far as from like a first year value, I worry a little bit with Quinshon.
Sure?
And also at the same time too, like Quinshon's not going to catch any passes. So I have other running backs ranked above him. So he is a winner, but like to me, he was right there at my RB6. And right now he's at my RB5. Like there's not much movement for me. And honestly, I think I could move Caleb Johnson up above him too, to RB5.
Sir, I think there's a couple of issues in your statement. Steve keyed in on one. Jerome Ford is kind of just a guy at best, right? So even if he's around,
he's above
average. He is likely.
No, he's not. Stop.
I mean, not in terms of like yards per carry or any meaningful way that we measure running back production.
But he knows that system, been there for a while. But go ahead,
the point that you raised that I think is fair is we probably will see a split backfield as we do in the vast majority of NFL backfields in the modern game, right? We probably will see someone catching a bit more passes and getting a little bit more third down work, but we should not entirely set aside Quinshon Judkins' ability to catch the ball out of the backfield. If you go back to his Ole Miss tape, he's actually a fairly capable pass catcher. It almost reminds me a bit of Kenneth Walker, a guy that wasn't asked to do it a lot, but that when his name was called in his time at Ohio State or years past at Ole Miss, he's got some pretty solid hands. He's not a liability in pass protection, which is really all you can ask for from a rookie. So I don't think that you just completely take all of the pass catching work and move it off of his plate. I think he can potentially mix in there as well.
Eric, how far did he go up in your rookie rankings as far as running backs are concerned?
Quite high. I have him as my running back 3.
Oh, okay. So I guess it's a great time for me to transition into my biggest winner. And I think a lot of people is if we're talking about like pure movement in rankings, nobody moved more than RJ Harvey going to the Denver Broncos, because we all thought the Broncos were going to take a running back early. I know a lot of people bet them to take a running back early. Those tickets did not cash. They did extensive research on this class. However, the Broncos, they go with cornerback Jahdae Barron in the first round, which I love. I mean, that secondary is going to be awesome. But then they go ahead and they take UCF's RJ Harvey as the I believe it was the 5th running back off the board ahead of Caleb Johnson. So this is a guy who led the Big 12 in rushing touchdowns last season. He's been top 3 in the conference in rushing yards in back-to-back years, which is pretty impressive when you consider like UCF, not a powerhouse by any means. And at the same time, like they were just kind of transitioning into that power 4 play, but after being a G5 program for a while. And like the one thing I think that turned me off in the process is that he is a bit older of a prospect, and that will matter at one point, but he will still get that second contract you're imagining somewhere. And like, this is just awesome draft capital. And with how Sean Payton likes to use his running backs in the passing game and the competition around him, Jaleel McLaughlin, Audric Estime, no one that we're taking very seriously, there's some great upside with RJ Harvey. Harvey went to me as my RB10 in Dynasty to my RB4, behind only Ashton Genty, Omarion Hampton, and Travion Henderson. And you can make a case now that he should definitely be in the top 8, top 10 of Dynasty rookie drafts. And also, I think he's a locked and load top 56 pick when it comes to redraft in August as well. Steve, any thoughts on whether you like someone like RJ Harvey landing in Denver more, or would you take Quinshon Judkins in this scenario?
I'm taking Judkins, and it's not particularly close. Judkins to me is the RB2 of this class. So,
whoa, over Omarion.
Yeah, yes, over Omarion Hampton right now.
It's not gonna catch passes, dude.
Neither's Hampton. Like, let's be so real. Like, Harbaugh doesn't throw to running back, so I'm not too worried about Omarion Hampton right now. I like Judkins just for the landing spot. RJ Harvey, I don't like these late, like, they come out, they're older. They didn't really explode until they were like way older than everybody else. And it kind of took like 8 different things to go right for them to like find the field. I know everyone's like, well, Sean Payton. Listen, it didn't look super awesome for anybody touching the ball in that backfield last year. And I don't know how much better this guy is than Javonte Williams or Jaleel McLaughlin or whoever, right? I don't know necessarily if this was like another Alvin Kamara situation. I don't think it is. So I'm going to pump the brakes. I'm not going to say like he didn't move at all, right? Like that would be ignorant for me to say, but I certainly am going to pump the brakes a little bit. And like people are like, well, this is it. He's going to be an RB1 now, and he's going to get all the touches and a million passes and the blah, 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 blah. No, he doesn't seem to throw the ball that much to the running backs last year, and I doubt it's for a total lack of ability.
Yeah, but remember back in New Orleans when Alvin Kamara and Mark Ingram were just
but it was
feasting?
Alvin Kamara, right? Like Alvin Kamara is kind of a unicorn in a sense, right? Like he's very good. I don't know if RJ Harvey's that good. So I would pump the brakes. My advice would be to slow down. Everyone take a breath. This is post-draft hype, post-draft propaganda for RJ Harvey, I would say a little bit.
Eric, where are you at on Harvey? Obviously not RB4 high.
Pretty close though. I am frustratingly right in between the two of you. I kind of look at Hampton, Judkins, and Harvey all being in the same tier together. Relatively close to one another. The point that you made that I think persists is in terms of guys that moved the furthest up from their pre-draft position is clearly Harvey, right? He was kind of in that middle class prior to having his name called, and now, if nothing else, he's got runway to considerable workload, right? Where we want to sit here and pick apart traits and talk about testing and metrics and what we see on tape. All of that is a piece of the puzzle, but one of the biggest pieces is how frequently they're going to be on the field, and that opportunity is right there in front of him. And this is something that we don't see Sean Payton do a lot. He's certainly drafted plenty of running backs. He's only drafted 3 others with top 100 draft capital, those being Reggie Bush, Mark Ingram, and Alvin Kamara to go along with RJ Harvey, the 60th pick overall. So, I mean, look, he is putting the requisite draft capital behind a guy that he clearly has belief in. I think he'll have at least first crack at the opportunity to prove himself. And if he can, then he's going to have a lot of work coming his way in this backfield.
Let's move to the wide receiver position, where maybe one of the other biggest winners when it comes to rankings movement is Travis Hunter going to the Jacksonville Jaguars. And look, it was a really, really difficult process early before the NFL draft to rank Hunter, especially because, like, how could you take him in the top 12 of like Dynasty Superflex leagues when we didn't know which team was going to get him? And then it came down, okay, it's probably going to be the Browns, and like, how would they use him? However, the Jaguars, they trade up to 2. They gave up next year's first, this year's second, and this year's fourth. And if that doesn't tell you how much Jacksonville likes this guy and how they want to use him, potentially this clip from General Manager James Gladstone at the introductory press conference will tell you exactly what they think of Hunter and his skill set.
Yeah, as we sit here, Travis Hunter is a Jacksonville Jaguar, and really what comes to mind for me, right? Thinking about the sport of football and really the power of the game itself, right? Its capacity to ignite belief, right? Belief in ourselves, belief in others, right? Belief in achieving what many may deem impossible. Travis Hunter, he embodies belief, right? He's a rare person, he's a rare player, but he's also a reminder that the boundaries of the game of football were built to be challenged. And so the decision to select him was actually a statement for how we plan to move, who we are, and we want him to be nothing more than him. Because when he is, he elevates the space around him. From the football field to the city to the game of football itself, Travis Hunter is who we've been hunting up. Couldn't be more jacked to be sitting right here beside him and introduce you all to the man of the hour.
I mean, my man just cut a promo, and that is something that was such a good promo. You don't write that in 2 days. You don't write that in 48 hours. You've been cooking on this. They have been sitting there in that office figuring out, hey, we're going to play this guy on both sides of the ball. How are we going to do it? This is how we're going to do it. Talking to some experts. And like, keep in mind, not only is Travis Hunter coming off a season where he was the Heisman Trophy winner, but he was also the Blintikoff Award winner, which goes to the best receiver in college football. He went for 1,200 yards. He went for 15 touchdowns. And I think now working alongside BTJ, Brian Thomas Jr., helping draw some coverage off him, catching passes from Trevor Lawrence, who I know we still have question marks about, but is still a capable NFL quarterback in a Liam Cohen called offense. I'm moving Hunter up to my Dynasty rookie wide receiver 2 and inside my top 6 of overall Superflex rookie rankings. Are you there as well, Eric? You're muted.
It's really a point of frustration for me, right? Like, if in that introductory press conference, Gladstone was out there saying he is going to be a wide receiver and that is our primary role and function for him, I think you can make a case for it. But the reality is, especially when you consider
he didn't say it, but he said it, man.
I mean, he said that he is a game-changing player and they're going to find ways to utilize him, right? So I think, especially in the context of the draft capital that they gave up, they're going to try to do the Frankenstein thing where he's out there both on offense and on defense. And that's either going to create considerable injury risk in my mind or a middle ground where he's playing part-time at both, right? Like, if we said definitively he's a full-time receiver and that is all he's going to work on, that is where he's going to continue to develop, I'm comfortable with him as the QB2 in this year's class, right? The wide receiver 2 in this year's class. But it is a legitimate question mark, and I don't like expending that early round draft capital on guys that I have significant question marks around. He's a great player. I think he can be like somewhere in the Calvin Ridley to Chad Johnson range, Chad Ochocinco. Like, I think he's got a lot of tools. It's just I don't know if he's going to have the chance to use them all the time.
What do you think, Steve? Will you be taking a shot on Hunter where it's costing you to take him right now, the middle of the first round of rookie drafts?
No, I won't. And he's probably my wide receiver 4, maybe 5 in this draft class right now. And that's just because I thought it was a weak wide receiver class, frankly. Like I still have Tet McMillan obviously as my 1, and then Trey Harris certainly ahead of him as the 2, and Matthew Golden probably a 3. And that's kind of where I'm at right now. Travis Hunter, I think, is a really good player. I don't think he's stellar at either position. I think what made him so unique is that he was really good at both positions in college. To say he was the best wide receiver in college was an absolute stretch.
He won the award, brother.
I know he won the
Blitnikoff,
Blitnikoff,
man.
but realistically, Tet McMillan should have won that award. Every stat, every metric is better.
Okay, if we're going off stats, Nick Nash was supposed to win it then.
Well, then what does it go off of?
Everything.
It's like if it doesn't go off the stats, what does it go off of? Vibes? Like, yeah, he just won like
Yeah.
he just aura farmed the entire time and like won a bunch of awards. I thought it was dumb. But that's not what we're here to talk about. We're here to talk about his dynasty ranking. I think it's fine. I don't think he's a winner. I think he was going to go wherever he went. I don't think there was a landing spot he could have gone to unless the team explicitly came out and said he will not touch the football on offense. That wouldn't have been like getting everyone all hot and bothered for him.
So would you prefer your receiver that you're bringing up as a loser here, Emeka Egbuka, who goes surprisingly 19th overall to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers? Your thoughts on Egbuka, and would you prefer him over Hunter in rookie drafts currently?
No, I wouldn't. And so this is probably what's going to get me in trouble with Ohio State fans from your neck of the woods, Seth. But like,
Easy.
I very openly compared Emeka Egbuka to, and this is not a slight because he's a good professional, Tyler Boyd. That's his pro comp for me. There is a real problem when you've played for as long as you have at a school as Egbuka did and was never the best wide receiver on your team.
Neither was Justin
Not
Jefferson in LSU, brother.
That's because he had an all-generational talent with Jamar Chase once. And there's actually arguments to be made that Justin Jefferson the year before that was the best player on the team.
Jeremiah Smith and Marv are could be generational talent. So
could be, but
and Garrett Wilson,
right?
And JSN, like Chris Olave, brother.
JSN, Chris Olave,
Cardinal Tate.
Not, right? You named 3 guys that absolutely are not generational talents. So, like, he was never the best. He was sometimes not even the second best. That's worrisome. At some point, we have to look at it and say it is worrisome. They're like, oh, he has the most receiving yards in Ohio State history. Yeah, because he was there for like ever in a day. Like, it took him forever to come out, and he's played with everybody, and he's played.
I don't even care. I don't even
played
care
with
about
Chris Olave. Like, how long has Olave been in the league now? Like, it takes.
So why is he a loser?
Forever.
Give me.
He's a loser. He's a loser because he went to a team where he is, as of right now, like the 4th option. And Mike Evans is still there. Chris Godwin is still there. Jalen is still there. Like, there's talent around him, and Baker Mayfield's only getting older. So we're going to kind of lose Baker's prime right around the time Egbuka gets his shot. So it's kind of like this, really a lot of things are moving, a lot of moving pieces, and this just wasn't the place you wanted him to land. You wanted him to land somewhere like Green Bay where they need him. Mm-hmm. They don't need him. So is it just going to be a repeat of Ohio State in my mind where he's never the best receiver on his own team?
Yeah, I see.
Those guys are all still in the league.
I have similar concerns. I don't think Mike Evans is going anywhere. Maybe this is a sign that Chris Godwin's recovery is not going as great as we had hoped. But at the same time, Eric, where I struggle with this is just we've seen what this team is when they try to run Chris Godwin outside. It's not the same. Chris Godwin needs to be playing inside. You can make an argument Jalen McMillan's also a pretty good power slot option as well. So what happens here with Egbuka? Because he is a guy, he doesn't need to just play in the slot. He can play flanker. But how does this kind of all shake out, you think, when it comes down to being on the field and snap percentages?
Yeah, it's a bit of a head scratcher. It certainly tanks his redraft value, right? In dynasty context, he's one of the bigger losers because, to Steve's point, you would prefer him land somewhere where he's got runway in front of him. But in my context, he's probably one of my favorite targets because I love him as a prospect, and he is getting discounted, right? Like everyone is saying, like he's the 4th option.
Where are you seeing him going in drafts right now? Because he went at the 107 in one draft I was in, which felt like, but it's a sharp league for sure.
I saw him drop into the 2nd round in a rookie draft that I am actively in right now.
Oh my goodness! Super flex too.
Yeah, super flex.
Wow.
And Steve makes perfectly fair points, right? But the reality is it's variability. We don't know how this is going to shake out, so that's going to impact
Yeah.
his value. I tend to view him as one of the highest floor receivers in this year's class, and
I
he is
agree
a
with that.
very versatile player. So there's a lot of different ways that we can see the Buccaneers deploy him over the kind of 3 to 5 year prospectus. So it's a risk that I'm willing to take in a dynasty context. But I mean, as an Emeka Egbuka fan, it's one of the worst landing spots that he could have fallen
Yeah.
into. I'm willing to eat that risk because I think that he has the talent and the skill set to stick and stay and make a solid career for himself. I don't know if he's got the upside, but I mean he brings a lot of tools to the NFL level, and I think we can see a lot of passes heading his way.
I agree with both of you because I think he is a loser. He absolutely is a loser with this landing spot, the question marks down there in Tampa Bay and what the usage is going to be. But I still like the value. And if he is slipping into second rounds of rookie drafts, sign me up, baby. Eric, throwing it back to you for Luther Burden, who he goes off the board early in the second round to the Chicago Bears. I don't see him as a winner. Do you see him as a winner? Do you like the situation out there with Ben Johnson and company?
So those are two distinctly different questions. No, I don't like the situation out there with Ben Johnson and company because they've got like 17 mouths to feed. And it's going to be really hard to project who will be the one that is the star, the apple of the eye, the darling for that given week. I think it's going to be a lot of week to week variability. So on the whole, for everyone not named Caleb Williams, it's probably going to be a mess here for a few years. For Luther Burden in particular, I'm not a big Luther Burden fan. I think he's kind of a one-trick pony, right? He
Agreed.
or was one of the leaders in college football in yards after the catch because he's a screen merchant. He's just getting passes that are like within a half a yard of the line of scrimmage and doing everything after the catch. But given that skill set, if there is a single team where you can say we need a specialist that we can scheme up these big chunk plays, these home run hitters, scheme ways to get the ball into his hands. This is one of the best places for him to land with that narrow skill set. So he is going to get the absolute most out of his limited skill set based on where he was drafted. But I don't like him as a dynasty prospect. I'm letting him fall past me in rookie drafts that I'm in already. This is just the absolute ideal circumstance for him to fall into, although I still think he's going to have a lot of variability. He's more of a best ball target is probably the easiest way to summarize it.
Okay. Yeah, I agree with that. I haven't been on Luther Burden. I agree with you that I think this is a guy who needs schemed up and isn't someone who's a pure separator when it comes to route running. So I'm completely there with you. And I think the Ben Johnson effect could be fun, but for fantasy football purposes, it is going to be a pain. And on this note, too, if you have people in your league panicking about Rome Odunze, while I think that might be a little frustrating at times, I'm buying. I sold a few rookie picks this past weekend to go get Rome Odunze. The manager was panicking. I did the same thing the year prior with Jackson Smith and Jigba, and it paid off in spades. I don't know if this will be the same situation, but just something to note there. I'm going to go with my last winner here for the rookies, Jarquez Hunter out of Auburn. He's landing with the Rams. And a big theme of tonight's episode, boys, and my winners is like, it's players I haven't talked a lot about throughout the process. And if not at all, really. And like, I will be the first one to say I was too low on Harvey coming in. I didn't really factor in Hunter just because it was really tough to rank him, as I noted earlier. And this is another case of that too. Like, I think I was too low on Auburn RB Jarquez Hunter, who the Rams took as the 11th RB off the board at the 415. And while I was a huge fan of his game compared to some of the other running backs down the board, I never thought he was really like a top 10, top 8 guy in this class. And he really might be, because when he was playing against like playing with Tanks Bigsby, is kind of his lightning to Tanks thunder. I thought he had a little bit of juice. Looking back on some of that tape today in preparation of this, he definitely has that. I don't know if he's a guy who can handle a 3-down workload by any means, but I think he can definitely be a change of pace runner and maybe even a 1A if you have a bigger bruiser coming in as well. So The Rams, they go out in a draft where they don't have a ton of capital a year after spending a day 2 pick on Blake Corum. And I think that means, like, dude, they might have big plans for this guy. And Kyron Williams in the last year of his rookie deal, and given how it went extending Todd Gurley, I don't know if they sign him back. So it might be a slow roll here, Steve, where the season starts and he's third on the depth chart. But there's certainly a world we could live in where next year in 2026, Hunter is the lead back, or at least the 1B to Corum.
There is, right? If there's any coach in the NFL that makes me really, really nervous when it comes to running backs, it's Sean McVay, right? Like, we don't know. Yes, he could very well this year, he could be the starter. Who knows, right? You don't know. But he could also never see the field, right?
Yeah.
We all thought Blake Corum, early draft capital, gonna see some time. Nothing. Not a thing. I mean, Seth, that was the bane of your existence for a whole season.
I know.
I'll never forgive Sean McVay for the day he said, Cam Akers is our starter. And that week I started him in fantasy, and Cam Akers saw exactly 0 touches. None. Nada. Zip. Nothing. So
Yep.
Sean McVay works he is a mad genius, but that mad sometimes comes out really heavy. And so I would caution people when it comes to being excited. I don't want you to not be excited. Don't let me be your wet blanket. Don't let me rain on your parade. Like, let it rain on me, right? But, like, just temper expectations. I would hate to see what happened with Blake Corum happen to you again.
I'm not there. I was taking Blake Corum in the mid to early second round of rookie drafts last year. I'm saying spend a mid to late third on Hunter. That's where I am. A mid to late third on the shot. So yeah, that's kind of where I think I am on Hunter. Boys, let's move to some veteran winners and losers. Eric, throwing it over to you. Who was a vet that took a hit this weekend?
I only had winners for the vets. The first one is one that I kind of alluded to a moment ago, that being Caleb Williams. Not only do we see the Chicago Bears go up and completely revamp and bolster their offensive line over the course of free agency, but then they go and spend their first and second round pick on very specific pass catching weapons for Caleb Williams. So, I mean, we are very much so in a everything on the line type of season for Caleb Williams in his young NFL career. He has no reason not to succeed. He has all of the weapons available to him. He should have much improved protection. Trying to figure out who he's going to favor, who the coaching staff is going to scheme up in a given week, like I was saying before, on a week-over-week basis is going to make you pull your hair out. So the easiest way to get exposure to all of that is to push your chips into Caleb Williams stocks, right? Like he has so many weapons at his disposal. I tend to think he still has a lot of real NFL upside in front of him, and now he has a stocked cabinet of weapons to play with.
I was hesitant at first when they pulled the trigger on Colston Loveland, but then I'm hearing that apparently other teams were also interested in trading up, not for Tyler Warren, but for Colston Loveland, that it was really Loveland who was a lot of people's tight end one in this class when it came to actual NFL draft scouting boards. So that was really interesting. And I think pairing him out there, you got Rome, you got DJ Moore. I know we're not huge fans of Luther Burden on the program, but at the same
speak
time,
for yourself on that one.
Yeah. Eric and I, at least, I think it's a great situation for Caleb Williams. I'm going to throw a couple names out there. Just give me Caleb or this name in best ball right now. Underdog. Kyler Murray, Caleb Williams.
Kyler.
I'm Caleb. Jared Goff, Caleb Williams.
Goff.
Justin Fields.
Oh, yeah, it's Justin Fields.
Bo Nix.
Caleb.
Baker Mayfield.
Baker.
Caleb.
Patrick Mahomes.
Caleb.
Okay. So funny enough, Patrick Mahomes was the highest ranked of those quarterbacks. He was QB6, Baker's QB7, Bo Nix QB8, Caleb currently QB9. So there's a couple guys down the board you guys might like better, like Justin Fields, Kyler Murray, but it's that rushing upside, right?
It's rushing upside.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. Yeah, I agree. I'm excited about Caleb Williams. He has no excuses now. They're continuing to build that offensive lineup too. So excited to see what he can do. I want to stay at the quarterback position here, boys, and Is there another bigger winner in the AFC as far as signal callers go than CJ Stroud of the Texans? This team grabbed both the Iowa State wide receivers, two of my favorite wide receiver prospects in this class, Jaden Higgins at the 2-2, the 6th wide receiver off the board, and then Jalen Noel at the 315, going off as the wide receiver 12 off the board as well. And like, I think that this team is signaling they went all in trying to bring back CJ Stroud's dynamic, magical rookie season. They have the new OC in-house, Nick Caley, as well, coming over from Los Angeles. And with these weapons, as the rookies are coming in, Nico Collins at wide receiver, you got Joe Mixon still in the backfield. They add rookie Woody Marks, so I'm not a huge fan of, but definitely a great pass catching back. Dalton Schultz at tight end, like I'm all the way back in on CJ Stroud, boys. Currently a steal, in my opinion, in best ball quarterback 18. I think he's right in line as well with that QB7 Fantasy Pros ECR ranking in Dynasty. And I'll also be looking at the 25-1 MVP numbers right now in the betting markets as well, Steve.
Absolutely. CJ Stroud, here's the thing. You got to bet on the talent, right? And he's shown us he has it. Like, yes, he took that sophomore slump. It happens. Their offensive coordinator never really seemed to understand what CJ Stroud does well, which is he pushes the ball downfield. Like, you got a gunslinger at quarterback. It's best to let him use it. You got those Iowa State guys. They are burners, right? They're going to go and stretch the field for you. You still got Nico Collins, who's a field stretcher. Like, that's what you built this. It's a vertical
It's going to be
offense.
fun, man.
It's going to be fun. It's a vertical offense. I love that. So I absolutely love what the Texans have done. And they are really like, they are pushing their chips in on CJ Stroud, but they're doing it in a very intelligent way that doesn't feel like it's going to cripple them.
Not like the Bengals. Yeah. Eric, how do you feel about these moves? And also our guy Brandon in the chat. What's up, Brandon? Thanks for tuning in tonight, man. He's saying Kenyon Green and Shaq Mason are gone, so looking better for Stroud. And also they did add some offensive line help in the second round, so you'd be thrilled overall with what the Texans did, Eric. And any interest in a 25-1 MVP ticket or any CJ Stroud shares in best ball?
Like the MVP odds, like Stroud in best ball. On aggregate, I love what the Texans did with their draft this year, but there's context that has to be applied, right? And,
okay.
And Brandon mentions a key point here, right? With Green and Shaq Mason out the door, a lot of their thesis has been addition by subtraction. We are going to get the problematic pieces out of this offensive line that had CJ Stroud on his back all game long, every single week last year, right? So they're telling us they tend to believe that thesis, right? If not, they would have to go and spend some of their capital on a new guard, right? To your point, they went out and they brought in a second round tackle, Ursay out of Minnesota.
Yeah.
He actually he profiles fairly well. You pair him up with Cam Robinson, I think you've got decent enough tackle play. The interior is a legitimate question. So they either believe that they can coach up the guys that they have there, or, like I've been saying all year, go out and get yourself a fullback like they did Chris Evans and use him for a chip blocker, for another way to protect CJ Stroud. Ultimately, I think I would rather see them use one of their 5 day 2 picks on some interior offensive line play. But on the whole, in terms of the value they got, the way they were able to manipulate the market and move up and down, it was a masterclass. I worry about the interior part of that line specifically.
Yeah, they've had a couple guys in-house there for a little while, and now it's kind of like, hey, make or break. We're going to trust you, and we're going to put you out there. Steve, let's go to your winner as well. I'd like to talk about someone out there in the Big Apple. What do you got?
Yeah, my big winner is Malik Nabers. I think the Giants had the best draft of the year. Like, I think this was a Giants win all the way around because they got, in my mind, the QB1 in this class. I've said it on this program many times. I almost put Jackson Dart here. I thought you'd be proud of me for not. So I love this from Malik Nabers because Jackson Dart knows how to get the ball to his playmakers, right? And that's what he comes from, is an offense that is, with Lane Kiffin, very specifically designed to be like, get the ball to your best player. That's what you do over and over and over again. I said it on Twitter today, and I stand by this. Malik Nabers, don't be shocked if he leads the league in targets this year, because he's just going to be fed. And he has a competent quarterback in Jackson Dart as a rookie, but he also has 2 competent starters or veterans, I'm sorry, ahead of him with
Yeah.
Russell Wilson and
Oh,
Jameis Winston.
oh, oh man, yeah. We
Like,
need
we
the
all would love to see
one game of Jameis. Give us one
Yeah,
game, please.
I think the Giants need to commit to week 18, just starting Jameis, no matter what. Like, and just letting us have that.
No matter
but
what,
I think Malik
Jameis, yeah.
I think Malik Nabers is going to have a monster year, and this is so good to see because I think he's truly a top 5 talent right now at the wide receiver position in the NFL. So
Yeah,
I
I
am
agree.
all the way in on Malik Nabers.
Well, and they didn't bring any competition in for him either, right? Like they really like Darius Slayton. We knew that with the contract they gave him in free agency to keep him in house. They seem to like Wan'Dale Robinson as well. So this is an offense that will run through Malik Nabers. They got Cam Scatterbo in the backfield as well. And the exciting thing about Dart is when he gets in there, he's also a little bit like, I don't want to say Jameis-esque, but the way he likes to push the ball downfield, he is. Like, this is a guy, probably the best deep ball thrower in this class. So absolutely agree with you there. Ben does in the chat too, saying Malik Nabers is definitely going to flourish in a darty party environment. Oh,
not
darty
only
party.
that, but Jackson Dart, like, he just fits New York. So, you know what I mean? He's got like the one eye black thing he's got going on. Like, he's a good looking dude, right? Like, it's what you want in New York.
Zach Wilson, you can say the same thing, brother. Eric, throwing it back to you here for another winner. Who you got?
Yeah, it's kind of a two-parter. I put Chase Brown in. This is in part because I am heavily invested in Chase Brown in a number of dynasty leagues, and I was sitting there sweating buckets all the way through the NFL draft, worried that they were going to bring in a high pedigree, high draft capital running back from this year's class. They did go and add somebody in the 6th round, Taj Brooks out of Texas Tech. Not someone that I think is legitimate threat to Chase Brown's playing time, and that kind of spins into my overarching winner, which are at large the at-risk veteran incumbent running back. All of the guys that we had big concerns about losing their job by way of the draft largely kind of came out unscathed, right?
Yeah.
Like, you talk about guys like Chase Brown, Tony Pollard still hanging around out there. There was concern that maybe someone would get drafted a little bit higher than we saw to unseat Kyron Williams, right? As we go up and down the list here, James Conner, DeAndre Swift, like a lot of these veteran backs that we were worried about largely don't have at least high draft capital, high draft capital competition heading into their camp season. So I think that we're going to see a temporary spike in these guys' value, and you're going to have to decide if you want to plant your flag and ride with them or get out while their value is still a little bit higher.
Yeah, I agree. And I know a lot of people kind of played that gambling game going into the NFL draft. I saw a lot of tweets like, hey, now's the time to get out of Chase Brown. Now's the time to get out of these other running backs in this tier that people were getting a little worried about. So I'm dead on with you. I think Chase Brown, these other veteran running backs holding on to their jobs was great. And like the rookie running back landing spots, I got to say, like, they're never like, other than like Genty this year, which is like the perfect spot. I feel always disappointed. Like Travion Henderson in New England, like I still like him. But
by the way, which I called on this program.
Yeah, you did call
Travion
that.
Henderson to the Patriots.
Loser for me, Dak Prescott. They go guard. The Cowboys do at Tyler Booker at 12, and I get it. It fills a need, but didn't get great value there. But they did get great value with Ravel and a rusher on day 2 there. So I really liked what they did from that standpoint. But they didn't add a receiver. The only running backs they got was Jaden Blue and Phil Maffa, day 3 picks. This is a Cowboys current wide receiver depth chart that looks like this after CeeDee Lamb, Jonathan Mingo, Jalen Tolbert, Jalen Brooks, Ryan Florney, Kevontae Turpin. Those are real names. I promise you that. Outside of Lamb, like, boys, this is the worst receiver core in the league. And if they don't bring in a veteran like Amari Cooper back down to the big D, Lamb gets hurt, like it's Joe over for Dak, man. Even at quarterback 16 in best ball, I'm out. Quarterback 20 in dynasty, I'm out. I'm out on the Cowboys. I'm gonna be looking at ways to fade them in the future betting market, potentially like a exact order and putting the Giants above them or something like that, I'm out, Eric.
I understand why you are out. I mean, look, the investment in the O-line is always something that I'm going to give organizations and in turn quarterbacks credit for. But your overarching point is bang on, right? I'm running through depth charts in my head to try to think if there's any other team, any other wide receiver core that can compete with the Cowboys for the absolute worst in the league, and it's tough. Maybe Denver, right? Denver, they basically have Sutton and then kind of nobody else. And Lamb is obviously a good bit better than Sutton. But the point persists, right? You would like to see them go out and try to support their quarterback with a few more weapons. Maybe they already made the move by sending a 4th rounder to get Jonathan Mingo, and they truly believe that he is a capable wide receiver too. Whether or not they believe it, that's the reality that we're going to see heading into this season.
Steve, last loser, real quick, hit us.
Yeah, it's Najee Harris, and that sucks because I have enjoyed watching him flourish in Pittsburgh. I thought he'd have a good season. I'm out now.
Yeah.
Marion Hampton, RB3 Dynasty. I'm kind of out on Najee Harris now. He'll lose that job by week 5.
Oh, yeah, it's not going to be good. And flourish is a strong word, I would say, for Najee Harris for sure.
4,000-yard seasons, hard to say. Like, we have to decide, is 1,000 yards good for a running back or not?
Yeah, that was one of these veteran running backs that really lost, was Najee.
He lost.
Yeah. Guys, that's going to do it for us tonight on the In Between Fantasy Football podcast. If you've rode with us this long, please give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Subscribe to the whole channel as well. We've got NFL betting, college football betting, NASCAR betting, PGA betting, and entertainment betting, all to help you cash more and enjoy the ride along the way. Also, check out In Between Media for some written content and some upcoming live event tickets, including Draft Night Out. For Eric Romoff and Steve Lawson, I'm Seth Woolcock. Thanks for watching. Keep it in between till next time, y'all.